Well, that's true.
Don't wait.
That's true because they have what you're saying is they have power to negotiate up to a level. If it's a local,
it's not much of a level.
And they could go, and then they have to go over. You have to go to another level to get to someone who's going to be able to override them.
And
that's true.
And you're relying on a very low-paid, overworked person to make decisions about your business and carry that message through to someone further up the food chain. And I promise you, they are not getting that message through necessarily in anywhere near the most effective way that you do. I mean, I've written pages of issues to a property manager of what I want addressed and gotten a 3-word reply back.
Yeah.
That is completely inappropriate to address a tenant's issues in such brevity. And you can see that it hasn't come from anywhere further up because it never made it further up. And you don't know that unless you demand a meeting. And then when you do demand that meeting and you're sitting there going, did you know about this, this, this and this? And there's that look of, oh, no, we didn't. Suddenly. So anyway, Wayne, I'm going to sit here now and
I think
I think we should get Angela to do.
I think for any tenant,
she's got instead of doing politics, you could make a fortune just become an outsourced negotiator.
I like the word fortune. I like the word fortune there, Simon, because I'm going to have to raise a fortune to run my next political campaign. So
well, we'll back you.
And for any business owner who lacks the vitality and outspoken ability of
don't be scared
Angela.
of a landlord.
No, it's not that. It's not being outspoken. I think what Angela's saying is that it's not. Don't be intimidated. You don't need to be. I'm sure when you're negotiating, you don't talk. You talk and you listen. Because ultimately that you get a win-win situation by working through the issues.
But see, big business or the corporate world or people that I refer to, and I'm not being a racist, suits. They know that you negotiate. They always go into a meeting negotiating and expecting to have to negotiate. But small business tends to be, can I or can't I? And they don't realise that it's just a beginning. A negotiation is just a beginning. You are very rarely going to hear anything good the first time.
Sure.
And the first copy of the lease is very rarely going to be what it ends up looking like if you negotiate.
Spot on.
But they take it so emotional the first time when they hear no.
Yeah, sure.
Or you're going to have a relocation clause whether you like it or not, or you're going to have a demolition clause whether you like it or not.
Sure.
They hear those words and they get sick and they think, oh no. And then they'll spend the next 5 years worrying about it.
Sure. That's true. You do have, and also the other thing is that small business is reluctant to call the bluff of moving. That's probably one of the biggest, the incumbent tenant. If I look around here, I'm sitting in Vivo Cafe, beautiful fit out. Don't know how much it cost you, but it'll cost you a fortune. You wouldn't want to,
millions. 1.2 million on my last refurb.
Huge.
Yep.
Right? That's a huge investment from your point of view.
Yep.
At the end of the lease, you can't take that with you.
I've got nothing.
You got nothing. So, that's one of the issues that the incumbent tenant, or in property parlance, it's called the sitting tenant.
Yep.
Sometimes referred to as the sitting duck.
Free shot.
Yeah, basically has this huge overhead overlay, and there's all these frictional moving costs involved. So that has to come into account. However, in saying that, and we'll talk about this later, is that now the retail leasing market is very different to what it was, pre-GFC. It's a lot looser. The tenant has got a lot more ability, but they don't perceive that ability or that negotiation power, but they do, because there's not that, waiting list of people to get into.
You're right. And that hasn't flowed through, though, to some of the landlords.
I think it's starting to.
I make a point of it.
I think it's starting to.
When they all come in here.
I think it's starting to, and, you'll find that landlords, particularly with operators who know the trade, they're starting to get the message, put it that way.
Now, Wayne, you know what time it is, don't you?
Yes.
It's wind-up time.
Wind-up time. So I know that to help retailers learn more about what these mistakes
Simon
are
talked
and how
about
to...
the pack.
Yeah. So, Simon, tell us how listeners can get hold of this pack and what its title is.
Sure. Well, what I've done is I've created a pack called The 3 Biggest Mistakes in Retail Leasing and How to Avoid Them Using the LI System. So really, let me just go quickly, if I got time to just do... Okay, so the 3 mistakes are selecting the wrong site for your business model. So that doesn't mean getting the most expensive or the cheapest site. It's for the right site for your business.
Getting the right site.
Yeah, and it's a function of a number of factors, all of which I go through. The second one is not understanding your competition and not understanding the development issues surrounding your building. I mean, you mentioned relocation, redevelopment clauses, all those issues. That's a very important one. And the last one, the biggest mistake of all, which is number 3, is not understanding how to negotiate your lease and what's involved and how many points of negotiation there are. So,
and you were mentioning there was 15 on top of the rent.
There's at least 15 other than the rent. At least 15.
Fairly complex area.
It's a complex area, but we go through each one step by step, each clause, and we can show you what's involved, what your rights are. Because half the problems Angela's saying is a lot of people don't even know their rights. They don't even understand that this area is governed by the Retail Leases Act, which provides additional protection as opposed to commercial or industrial.
Well, let's help retailers get that knowledge. What's the best way to get a hold of this report?
Well, you can just email us inquiries, ENQUIRIES, at leaseinfo, leaseinfo.com.au, and we'll send it out to you. No charge.
It's a free pack?
Free.
So, Simon, this is very spur of the moment.
Sure.
And as you know, this is a subject very dear to my heart.
Sure.
We should try and make a time, and at one of these networking events that we have, we'd love to come and have you speak.
Sure, I would love to.
And invite as many small business owners as possible and have a discussion.
Sure.
And of all of these kind of things in greater depth other than the few minutes that we've had today.
Sure.
And so that they know that there are experts that they can go to specifically about this, and that we can learn and feel empowered for our businesses, because our business is the biggest investment we make.
Absolutely. I was saying to Wayne, when I've got to go, but the average, and yours is an exception, the average, I'm talking about small out in the burbs, have you got any idea what the average outlay is for a 5-year lease in Australia? Average. Not just like your one. What do you think it would be?
I know, but tell us.
$600,000. Now that is like people's life saving.
Yep, and it can vanish.
It often does.
And you can end up with, and not only end up with nothing, but owing money.
Absolutely.
Especially if your bond's gone.
Yep.
And you owe other people. Look, as I said, me and you, we could talk about this for.
I can see Angela getting wound up here.
Very upset.
But we have to wind up instead of being wound up.
Yeah, we have to wind up. We've got to go to a break, and we've got some amazing guests. I'm going to use that in inverted commas coming on that we're going to chat to very soon. We are going to organise Simon to come to a networking event here at Vivo. We're going to get some small business owners here. I guarantee we're going to have a packed house.
Okay, my pleasure.
We'll have a Q&A panel session.
Sure.
We'll get it all out there, and then we'll put the fear of God into all the landlords.
Sure.
So that they know, look out, we're coming with knowledge and power. You've been listening to Eagle Business. Thank you so much, Simon.
Pleasure. Thank you, Angela.
Don't go anywhere. We're going to have a quick break. Don't forget, Twitter, #RadioEW.
Looking for inspiration? We have you covered.